With that, I'd like to introduce David Titus, and please give him a warm welcome.
Okay, I have failed the first rule of investor presentations right on this slide. What is it? Anyone? No? What?
Tagline for your company.
No?
Contact information.
Contact information, exactly. Never do a pitch where the first slide, you don't have a way to get a hold of you. You won't believe the number of business plans I've seen in my life where, yeah, you look at it and then there's, how the hell do I reach these people? And yeah, today, in this day and age, I could Google you and eventually figure it out, but I'm a venture capitalist, which means I am lazy. So I'm not doing that. Or I'm some type of customer, and I shouldn't have to do that. So make sure you have contact information. I do have some business cards in the back. I am pretty easy to find though. I am Dave Titus at sdvg.org. We are a .org because the San Diego Venture Group is a nonprofit business support group designed to promote and support the venture capital ecosystem here in San Diego. We put on a series of networking and education events about the venture capital business throughout the year, one of which, as Patrick mentioned, is Pitch Fest. Pitch Fest is a business plan competition with cash prizes where last year we had approximately 100 companies apply. 10 of them get up before a panel of 10 venture capitalists and give their pitch. And before they do that, I give them some coaching. Now, I am not a professional presentation coach, a professional speaker. Well, we could debate that. But I've seen a lot of pitches over the years. I've listened to a lot. We've gotten some help from To Connect, which is a local firm here run by Diane West, which is a professional presentation and speaking coaching firm. And if you've never gone through that process, I highly recommend doing it. So what are we going to do tonight? We're going to talk about investor presentations. And much of what I talk about will be applicable to all kinds of presentations, customers, industry talks, etc. But I'm going to talk most specifically about investor presentations, about getting a second date, about telling a story, about what really makes a compelling presentation, whether it's 10 minutes long like we do at Pitch Fest, or a half hour long like you might do if you went in to pitch a venture capital firm on your business idea. There. And you'll see these are the criteria that Patrick sent me for your EChallenge judging. You know, they're going to choose those who have the potential to create a business or a nonprofit. And I put this up because it's very important to understand what you're being judged upon in the immediate future. So this is not giving me a 10-year plan, but who can get up and running quickly. And you'll see if you look at the criteria for the EChallenge, it is in fact much like what we put up for our Pitch Fest judging. In Pitch Fest judging, you know, we want you to talk about the important things in a business, the market, the people, the technology, the competition. And you'll find that most pitches, you can move around the things, but they tend to cover the same primary topics. If I'm going too fast, you slow me down. We got a tight timetable because it's beautiful out tonight, and I got a 6:30 walk scheduled down at La Jolla Shores tonight because it's just too nice to be inside. But more importantly, we're going to try and see a pitch. I think we have a volunteer somewhere. Oh, okay, Alex, okay. Yeah. So we'll, if we had real time, we'd have them give it before and after, but we'll just do it after. So we'll see how that works. So what makes a good pitch? What will allow you, when pitching your business idea, to convince someone to sign on board, whether that's an investor, a supplier, an employee? Well, I think the most important thing to remember is that investors want a story. They rarely invest in technology or a patent or a process. They want a story. They want, in a first meeting, for it to be fairly high level. You want to capture them emotionally, you know. And so think about that as you put together your deck, as you put together your story. What is captivating? You'll be, once again, surprised. Next two mistakes people make. They get up there to give their pitch, and the PowerPoint isn't working, or the thing isn't working, or you have, goddammit, a Mac, and it never works with the projectors, and you're looking for the cable, and suddenly you've spent your 5 most valuable minutes screwing around with technology. So you don't want to do that. If it doesn't work, move on. And then you want to put your most compelling information up front. Because to tell people that, you know, you're incorporated in California, we're incorporated in California, and we have 12 employees, and you know, it's like boring, boring, boring. You want to have your most compelling information up front. And then third, when you tell that story, drop the jargon. And then drop it some more. Go give your pitch to someone who knows nothing about your business, your industry, and ask them what words did they not understand. And you'll be shocked at how many they don't understand. So you really need to think about that, because when you're giving a pitch, particularly to something like a competition where the judges are not necessarily experts in your particular domain, in the venture capital field, we will pretend to be experts in your domain, but you want to drop the jargon and keep your story simple, keep it high level, keep it understandable. The other thing you want to remember when giving a pitch, particularly one where you're giving it to an audience, is less is more. It is in fact the hardest part. It's why elevator pitches are hard. Do a 3-minute pitch about your company or idea. It's hard. It's harder to do 3 minutes than 30 minutes, because you're forced to condense things down to the very most important topics and the key issues. But it really will help you do that. So as I put up here, master the 10-minute presentation. It's about a good level of time where you can still tell a fair amount of detail, but you got to stick to the important things. I'm going to talk way past 10 minutes tonight, so it's easy. I did not practice. I did not rehearse. I did not write out a script, any of that thing. Those things I would have done if I was doing a 10-minute presentation. When you come to a San Diego Venture Group breakfast, we have 5 or 10 minutes of stuff before we begin our program. That's written out in detail. I practice it in detail. There. Keep it simple. Keep your slides simple. It's a major faux pas that people make when making a big group presentation like this, is they have these run-on slides that just go on, and that's not helpful. Don't have a lot of slides. I'm going to talk, I don't know, for a half hour or so here. I've got effectively 10 slides tonight to go over. So you don't have to try and overwhelm people with information, because you have to keep in mind the goal. The goal of a presentation, at least an investor presentation, is to get a second date. No one pulls out their checkbook because you sat down with them for a half hour and convinced them in 30 minutes to write a check. Your goal when you're making an investor presentation like this, or any, you know, if you're running a nonprofit, you're selling sponsors, okay? Sponsor is an investor. Your goal is to get a second date. I had a meeting with a big company here in town a month ago, and the sole goal was to get a second meeting, and I got it. So think about that. When pitching investors, and once again, I think if you're looking at a nonprofit, sponsors or sources of cash are investors. So you can substitute those two words interchangeably. Please feel free to come down and sit. I won't bite, I promise. I won't call on you. We're calling on Alex. So there. But CEOs, or the leader of the organization, must present. people are making that investment in you and your organization. So you can't hand it off to a marketing person, to your number two, someone who's a better presenter. If you're not a good presenter and you're a CEO, go learn how to be a good presenter. Go do more than listening to me. Get training from a professional. You don't have to be a Hollywood actor, but you do have to be able to present, because you're going to do this over and over and over, whether it's, like I said, it's a speech to employees, it's a talk to suppliers, it's an industry conference, whatever. So the CEO really needs to be the presenter. In our case at PitchFest, we make the CEO present there, because people are buying from you, and you want to connect to them when talking to them. I say up here, you want to master your slides. You don't, that's the next sin, right? The guy who sits here and he goes like this. Well, okay, the thing you want to do is you want to master your deck, and he's literally talking, or she is talking to the board. We had one like that last year. But you want to master your material. Back in the old days, and I'm probably the only one here who is of that ilk. Okay, good. How'd you do a presentation like this?
Transparency.
Yeah, I didn't have any slides.
Okay, if you were at a well-funded company, you had slides. I mean, literally slides in a carousel, and they cost a fortune. And then some guys that I was a banker for came up with this damn program called PowerPoint. It kind of ruined the whole damn thing. But I had a CEO once. She was 28. And we had the slide deck. It was in the carousel. I would spin the carousel, a slide would drop, and she would start talking. Because she had practiced that talk so many times, and the beauty of slides is you couldn't revise it every 10 minutes like you can a PowerPoint. But she knew that material so well that she could talk wherever slide dropped. And so I think it really is important to master your material. You can't do it with a half hour of practice. You really have to go in there and be able to talk to it, to not read it. You all, anyone here that cannot read? Okay, so you all know what's up on that screen. I don't have to read it to you. I can talk about it, but I don't have to read it to you. So you don't want to be reading what's up on the board. People can do it. It's actually distraction. You want that to remind them. That's probably what they're going to take home. It's the part you want to stick in their brain. But you don't want to be up here reading that material, because then you're not connecting with them. You're not looking them in the eye. You're not seeing who's paying attention and who's not. So you really want to do that. So I think, if you can remember to tell a story and to connect at a personal level, then you're ready to do presentation. So what do we tell people the kind of presentation that we like to see for our Pitch Fest? I always say, when you start a presentation, ring the bell. Get up there and tell people something exciting or interesting about your company. Hi, San Diego Venture Group has hosted more Silicon Valley venture capitalists than any other place in the country. Boom. It gets your attention. So, get up there and ring the bell. Then tell people, who are you? Who's your management team? What have you done? Don't give me your resume. God knows, don't throw your resume up on a slide, okay? At most, throw up a slide that has the logos of the 6 big, well-known places that you worked. But, tell people why you're unique. Our team is unique because we all work together at such and such a company, or we've all worked with another member of our team. But tell me what is unique and compelling about your team. probably the most important thing that I want to know because that's who I am investing in. Next, tell me about your product in clear English. Once again, you'd be amazed. Okay. The Acme Corporation is going to be a global leader in the developing market that is exploding rapidly and will use innovative technologies to capture dominant market share as we expand upon our opportunities. It doesn't tell me. I mean, I can go through, I'll get stuff, I'll go through, this applies to written material as well. I'll go through 2 paragraphs, and you'll go, I don't know what they do, okay? They make tacos, and they sell them in the courtyard, you know? I mean, you know, you want to tell people what you do, what problem you're solving, and why it's important. Okay? And it really, I know it sounds basic, but it really is basic. What do you do? What problem are you solving? Or did you just invent a technology and you're looking for a problem, which is a common sin. But what problem are you doing? And then go and talk about your market. And this is really important. People love to talk about big markets. We are in a $9 billion market because it's the taco market. No, you're in the taco market at Rady School, and in fact, your market is, I don't know, $1,000 a month, you know, whatever everyone's taco budget is. So you want to be realistic. You know, people do like big markets, but a big market number that's not reality for what you're doing just turns people off. So when you talk, you need to know your market. You know, what is it? We're going to create a nonprofit to serve needy teenagers in San Diego County. Well, how many of them are there really, and what does it really cost to address that market? How big is that market, if you will? So there's lots of different ways to size a market. And I'm talking a bit about nonprofit because I know EChallenge has that, and it's an area where people too often think, well, business doesn't relate. It all relates. Okay, you have a market, you have investors, you have all kinds of things there.
Can I?
Yes.
Isn't there a risk when addressing that market? Isn't there a risk of undershooting? If I'm pitching you and I say my market is taco eaters at Rady, while in fact it can be in UC San Diego, for example.
Well, then say it's
So
UC
how
San
can
Diego. I mean,
But I mean,
so
how can I balance that with, you know?
well, you can
realism
be
and-
realistic. Your market isn't tacos, okay? It's tacos served at a university, and maybe, you know. So we had our winner of Pitch Fest 2 years ago was a 23-year-old named Johnny Simkin, and Johnny's market was used textbooks at universities. So he didn't say the book market is every single book that's ever sold, but he had, you know, there are 450 universities with over 5,000 students, and they have this much in books and stuff. So I think my point is really, you want to be real. Just throwing up a big number that's not related to what you're doing will be meaningless to people. People want to know that you know your space, that you've thought about it, you've done some research, because it's easy just to pull something out of the sky that's big.
So the reason why you're addressing what problem you're solving after you're addressing your solution?
I like to know what we're talking about. What happens, people get lost in what problem are they solving. And you sit there, or I've sat there and said, okay, come on, tell me what you're doing. I got it, okay? So typically a good product description will quickly lead to this. So that's why. If you went the other way, would it be a killer? No. If you went the other way and spent 20 minutes on the problem, okay, you've maybe educated me about the problem, but I haven't gotten excited about what you're doing. But you could go either way. There's not complete, you know, some people will start with the market opportunity. Once again, they get lost in the market opportunity. I really think there's value to putting your good stuff early while people are still paying attention, before that first text message or email is looked at underneath the table kind of semi-discreetly. So I'm a big believer in doing that. So we've talked, let's go back for a second. We've talked about what you do, your problem, the market, and how you're going to go to market. How are you going to get there? Are you selling direct? Are you selling through distributors? Are you selling over the web? Do you need salespeople, et cetera? And once again, if I go to the nonprofit situation, are you doing this through existing agencies? How are you going to get to the customer? So, and that really tells people what you're going to do and why. And now I want to know a little bit about why you're going to succeed at doing that. What are your barriers to entry? Really, what is unique and different about what you do? Because if you're not unique and different, I'm just betting that you get lucky. And some people do. God, Instagram got lucky, okay? Instagram was no better or worse than a half dozen other people out there. They just got lucky. So there's nothing wrong with luck. I would like $1 billion worth of luck. Anyone else like $1 billion worth of luck? Can I have 100 billion? No. But I think talk about what is unique about what you do. You have technology, you have partners, you have a distribution channel that's exclusive. Whatever it is, you want to talk about what is unique, because that leads to competition, because no company has competition. Don't get up there and tell me you have no competition. There's always competition, whether that's an existing incumbent in the marketplace, whether that is the fact that people could do nothing. Right? There's all kinds of competition for tacos here at Rady. People could bring their own lunch. There may be not a single other taco provider. So you have no competition because you are the only taco provider at Rady. But in fact, people came in here with all kinds of different food tonight. They came in with smoothies. They came in with sandwiches. They came in with all kinds of food. And some of you aren't even eating. It says to me there's a serious lack of demand for tacos here at Rady. Or there's serious competition because you all have meal passes or Starbucks cards or something like that. So competition frames your company. It tells the uneducated, i.e. a venture capitalist, where they should look to figure out if you're any good. So now I want to know how well you're going to do. How you're going to do it. So financial projections, I'm a big believer, should come at the end. They should be simple. Do not give me a P&L. Do not give me a spreadsheet, a 5-line spreadsheet that says 5 years from now you will net profit of $5,382,512. Okay. What I want to know as an investor from financial projections is, where is your head at? So I've gotten a rash of business plans lately where I've sat down with people and they've gone, and they've gone, and they've told me this really cool thing, and they have what they tell me is a great product. And in the first meeting, I believe you that it's true, that you can do what you say you're going to do. So they've told me all this, and they've told me they have a big market. And then we get to the finances, and they tell me that 5 years from now, they're going to be an $8 million company. And my little brain, a little venture capital brain says, wait a minute, you just told me you had the coolest thing in a big market, but you're only going to make an $8 million company. So something's wrong there. You either don't have the courage to go for it all, which is quite common actually, or you don't really have a big market, or you just don't understand. So I use those financial projections not to determine whether I'm going to invest or not. I'm going to use those top line financial projections. It can be as simple as a chart with a hockey stick. To know, I'm going to use those to know whether you have the kind of thinking that I like. Do you have the kind of understanding? You have a hardware business and you're going to have 90% gross margins. I'm sorry, it means you don't know what you're doing because you can't have 90% gross margins in a hardware business. So keep them simple. Funding requirements, use of funds, keep that simple as well. You want $1 million, you want $5 million. I would say keep that simple as well. I didn't put it in here, but I probably should have. Don't. And once again, I'm talking about an investor presentation. I'm not sure, Patrick, exactly in your competition what they might have. Don't, in an investor presentation, ever tell me how much money I'm going to make. For one thing, it's a violation of securities laws. Because you tell me that you're going to hit 40 million in sales, and if I buy in now, I will make 8 times my money, 10 times my money in 5 years. Well, 5 years rolls around, you hit 40 million, you sell the company, and I make 7 times my money. That's a good deal, right? 7 times my money in 5 years, yes? But what's wrong with that? It's not 8, and you told me 8. And I got a good lawyer, and I saved that piece of paper, so I want my 8. And you know where it's coming from? You, exactly. So don't tell someone, if someone can't figure out it's a good investment, they're probably not going to invest, and the fact that you put yourself at risk will not help your case at all. And then summarize. You know, it's the classic, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then remind them what is cool and important about your company and your project. Go back one more time and ring the bell. And if you can do, now you look at all that and you say, boy, I got to do that in 10 minutes. It's a challenge. That's where you'll get back to those concepts I talked about earlier about keeping it simple, keeping your slides simple, because doing all that in 10 or 11 slides in 10 minutes is a real challenge. And if you want to see some people who did it well, we have up on YouTube, which you can get into either through our website, sdvg.org, or our YouTube channel, SDVG. You can see our Pitch Fest finalists, the 3 finalists from 2011 and 2012. And they were all really good pitches. And it will give you a sense of what, at least in the Pitch Fest competition, we will do. But they were, the 2012 folks were good at taking instruction. The 2011 class were 3 of the best natural-born pitchers I've come across. So you can be born a pitcher. Last year's group were made pitchers, and it was really fun to see the difference there. What else? Questions? If you are they doing questions, Patrick?
There will. It'll be a 10-minute pitch and 5-minute Q&A.
Okay, so Q&A can make or break your deal, whether it's in this competition, whether it's an investor presentation, whatever it is. So when people ask you questions, number 1 issue, don't get defensive. They're not attacking you. And even if they are, don't get defensive. It won't work there. So just give people simple, straightforward answers to their questions. And if you don't know, say you don't know. Say, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I'm going to research that and then get back to you, which is actually really great. Because once again, if you're trying to raise money or get someone involved, it's an excuse to go back to them. Hey, you know, I did this research, and in fact, there are 42 taco vendors at universities across the country, and they're all making lots of money. Therefore, we think we have a great opportunity. So when you answer, as I like to say, be confident, but be coachable. People don't want to invest in someone who won't listen to them. So it's one thing to have a little bit of confidence or cockiness. It's I'm on a college campus, not high school, right? It's another thing to be an asshole. Okay, don't be an asshole. No one likes an asshole. You know, it took Steve Jobs a lot of success before he really perfected the onstage, I'm an asshole, I don't have to tell you thing. When he first began, he wasn't like that because he couldn't afford to be. So just let people know that you're open. If they say, you know, what about this? Have you thought about this? It's a great question. Have you thought about this? You know, you don't want to tell someone it's a dumb idea, no matter how dumb it is. Okay? You want to say, you know, we've thought about that and we evaluated it against some of our other options, and we've decided that for right now we're going to go this path, but we kind of keep that in the drawer as an option for us in the future. Politicians are great at Q&A. If you want to learn how to do Q&A, just go watch a good politician. Once again, if you're raising money and if you're in our Pitch Fest competition, people will ask you about valuation. And you know, give people an answer. This is one of those cases where a lot of people stumble because they get too cute. You know, oh, you know, I don't know, they make up some BS type story. You want to know, what I want to know when I answer you that question is, are you reasonable? Have you done your homework? Do you know the market? Because if you tell me your brand new idea that's not terribly different from other ideas is worth $20 million today, I'm just going to walk. I'm just going to go do something else because you're not worth my time, because you're just unrealistic and you don't know the market. But if you're able to say, hey, look, we're raising $5 million. We know the market will set the price. You know, looking at other deals like us, we think the pre-money is in a range of somewhere between 5 and 10 million. Boom. You've done your homework. You're reasonable. You're flexible, and they can work with you. Am I missing you up here by walking? So summary. Your goal of a pitch is to get another meeting. People want a story. That's what they remember. This is cool because it's curing cancer. Okay? Not this is cool because it's a kinase receptor 812 hitting upon the B16. I don't know. You can tell I'm not a biotech guy. But you get it, okay? And for those, how many of you come from a life science background? Okay? As a whole, the life science industry is terrible at giving pitches. The good news is, in the last couple of years, at least as measured by our Pitch Fest competition, you're getting much better. And it's really bad because you have great stories to tell, but you get so lost in the weeds of receptors and histograms and blah, 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 you know. So give people a story. Make it simple and leave them wanting to be on your team, because that's what really makes it. Questions?
Does how much money you need, or what you think you'll need, should that play into how much you think the company will be valued?
In a funny way, yes. Yes and no. You think no, right? A company is a company, and it shouldn't. But particularly if you're talking of an early stage investment, it does, because investors can only own so much. And so if you have an early stage deal, like some large percentage, I should get a formal statistic sometime, the pre-money is going to be that the investors buy half. Why? Because the math kind of works. When you say, I got to have some for the founders and I got to have some for an option pool, I'm going to own half, I and the other. Well, if you need $5 million, it means your pre-money's 5. If you only need $1 million, it's only $1 million, and it just happens to work out that way quite frequently. So it's not a direct correlation, but yeah, there is some impact actually.
Well, so sorry, just to add one more thing. So if you really don't think you need a whole lot to get started, but you think the possible valuation is much, much higher. Should you address that specifically in your slides, in your pitch?
No, not in your slides. Because that's a conversation you and I are going to have one-on-one, and you tell me how it's worth $10 million, but you only need $250,000. And I'm going to say, well, that's nice. I don't want to own 2.5% of your company. So unless you're willing to sell me 20% of your company at a price I like, we're not going to have much more conversation. Yes.
If your audience is actually fairly knowledgeable in the field, what is an appropriate level of jargon?
Well, I think you have to decide. If you're up at a trade show, for example, you can use a lot more jargon than if you're at an investment conference, for example. So I think it's a case of knowing your audience. But when in doubt, jargon is out. Yeah.
Two quick questions. One, how often is an appendix used for like referencing during the Q&A? Like you have like a lot of data-centric slides, they're way in the back, you're not going to use, you may not use them, but they're nice working material.
You can do, here's the challenge. Once again, if you, whether you're, if you're in front of a big audience like this, short of giving some form of technical, you're not going to do it. But if you're sitting around a conference table and you're giving a pitch to a venture partnership or a nonprofit funding board, whatever it is, the challenge is, can you get to the right appendix slide really fast? Because if someone asks you a question that you think you'd like to answer with an appendix slide, and you have 25 of them, and you're sitting there going, geez, okay, which one, you're going through them, or you're doing this, right, the kiss of death. You go out of slideshow mode, and you're back at the computer, and you go, oh, geez, let me see where they are, you've lost them. So that's the danger with that. My preference would be to use that as a way to re-engage in a follow-up. We've got that data. It's really very fascinating. Let me dig it out and I'll send it to you and we can talk about it. Because now you've gotten yourself a reason to go back to that person. But I forget who it was. We had one guy who was great at it. He could go to his appendix slides like that, and that worked. But it's kind of, PowerPoint 201, and you better be good at it. Yes?
We want us to have a second meeting. How do we do that?
Well, like I said, you tell a story. You connect with people.
What's the hot point? What's the hot button?
I think it really varies. It could be because I think you're fascinating, or you're charming, or you have an idea I haven't heard of before, or I don't know that there's one magic secret.
In pitches, do you often see the presenter inviting a direct conversation with the listener? Where they actually, hi, you're David, can I ask you a question? And
Oh, no, you don't want, well, my world's venture capital, you better not put me on the spot. So, no, if I want to have a conversation with you, I'll let you know that. Okay.
So in order to get...
Okay, we got Alex coming up.
Yeah, and in order to get you to the shores in time, I think we're going to cut him off.
How long is your presentation?
Used to be 15 minutes just until 10 minutes ago.
So he'll be cut off at 10 minutes.
Okay. So
I'd also like to say that this is the beauty of an entrepreneur, is that Alex, I asked him at about 5:07 if he could give this, and he said yes. So if you don't have that mentality, I think you'd probably agree, David, that you have to have that mentality. So he's going to give this pitch, and based on the timeline, with a 10-minute pitch, that'll take us to about 6:07. And if you
we'll
can
spend
provide
some time talking about his pitch.
Yeah, and
This is bravery, okay?
My name is Alex Trainer, and you can reach me at alex@petwireless.com. First lesson. That's contact information. I'm a founder and CEO of Pet Wireless, and I'm your guinea pig tonight. So we are going to revolutionize the way people take care of their pets. We are wireless health for pets. We're actually a big data company. We're collecting health, maintenance, and safety data about our pets. And one thing we're going to market is focus on cats. We did our market research, and our value proposition resonates greatly with pet owners and veterinarians alike. The question, I guess, like children. So if you have a child, you know that your child is getting sick because your child communicates to you, somehow cries, talks to you. But it's not the case with cats. Cats are really good at hiding diseases. It's actually their natural instinct to hide all signs of weakness or sickness. And late detection of disease is a really big problem that causes pain for the cat and higher veterinary bill for the pet owner. So our solution to this problem is early detection of disease. And we do it through continuous and automatic monitoring of pets' physiology, habits, and activities. We looked into a cat's life, and we see that there are essentially 4 things they do. That's the thing. And so we focus on a litter box, because no matter what, if your cat is healthy, it will come to litter box. So how does it work? So we have a smart base right here. It's a solid base that goes underneath the litter box. It has sensors and electronics incorporated inside this base. And therefore, it can work with any litter box out there. And it records actually litter box activities. Transferred to the cloud via your household Wi-Fi. And we have analytics on the cloud that actually tells us a lot about cat. And what we get out of this is cat in the cloud. You can access your data with your smartphone. You can do it so with our app that runs across different platforms, and you can also do it through the web. So this is an example of one measurement. It is extremely simple. We're measuring weight versus time. So what you can see here is one trip to the box. In this case, urination, pardon my French. This whole thing is about a minute. So you can see that there's a weight of the box before cat stepped in, cat gets in, you see the entire profile of cat in the box. Here's the weight of the box with the cat, so the difference is the cat's body weight all of a sudden. You can see cats moving around and digging and getting out. And you can see how much waste cat left in the box. You can measure the time cat spent in the box and the entire profile and more. You'll be fascinated in a second. The same chart right here on a smartphone, and you can even see that you can conclude whether cat actually jumps into the box or goes paw by paw. In this case, actually cat steps paw by paw into the box, and you can see if cat is maybe getting sick by not being able to jump anymore, off pattern. So one of our claims to fame is we detect symptoms of top 5 diseases of cats. So there's been a large report published listing those 5 diseases, which I don't remember by heart, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that these 5 diseases have these symptoms common to them. So they have weight or loss of, gain or loss of body weight, changes in elimination frequency, changes in elimination volume, and changes in appetite, which we have a technology also to look for appetite directly or indirectly, right? Because a litter box actually gives you indirect detection of appetite. Here's one concrete example. Urinary obstruction is the #1 emergency case for cats. It costs you $3,000 to treat you if it's a male cat, yes. And you have to leave your cats for 7 days in the hospital to part with your baby. So if you detect early with our technology, you can do it. It's going to cost you $200 and no hospitalization and no emergency hospital. So we have value propositions for different channels, which are pet owners, veterinarians, animal shelters, and breeders. We are creating an ecosystem where we kind of connect between consumer cat owners and veterinarians, and we have really good value propositions for each one of them. So about the market size. I don't know if you guys knew that, but U.S. pet market is a $55 billion market as of last year. It's been continuously growing, been called recession-proof, plowed through all the recessions at the average pace of 5% a year. So people spent last year alone $14 billion on non-emergency veterinary care. And so our total addressable market are 40 million households with cats, with 90 million cats in them. On the veterinarian side, it's 48,000 vets in 20,000 vet practices. So our target market, we're looking at veterinarians as our channel. So we are going to go after top 25 metropolitan areas with slightly over 10,000 practices in them. On the pet owner side, we're looking for pet parents. Those are pet owners who treat their cats as children and spoil them with premium products. For example, last year alone, cat owners, approximately 1/5 of cat owners bought raw, natural, and organic foods for their cats. I want to ask yourself, how many of you did it for yourselves? So our target market is about 6.5 to 8.5 U.S. households, which translates to over $1 billion market inside the U.S. and twice as much actually in international, only G8 countries, including the U.S. and China. So what's our go-to-market strategy? We brand ourselves not as a consumer product, but as a medical product, and we sell directly, exclusively to the veterinarians. Selling through the veterinarians gives us many advantages. Number one, it's actually cheaper. Although veterinarians mark it up 100%, but it's much easier for us to address 10,000 veterinarian practices than 40 million households in the U.S. Also, people's willingness to pay is much higher in a veterinary practice, and our market research tells us that. And it's one-on-one sale, which is people who know sales is the best thing you can do for a customer, to be one-on-one. Of course, we have some other channels, and we have PR and social media and everything online for that. About our team, so we actually have over 35 years of combined exclusively startup experience. We all are very passionate about this. We all are cat owners. If you're not a cat owner, don't even come to us. We are cat owners that understand the needs of cat owners. And I ran large teams before, so my expertise is in leadership and empowering teams and hiring right people and showing them where to go. I also have very good people here. You know, Rita McDonald's, my VP marketing and sales. She has experience in consumer products. Moshe, our chief analytics officer, he writes algorithms that extract all this data, and we've done it already. And Dan Caulfield, my business advisor, he's a very accomplished serial entrepreneur and CEO. Before we go to finance, just to show you quick assumptions. So we assume we sell to wholesale to distributor, who in turn sells to veterinarian. Distributor marks it up at 30%, veterinarian marks it up at 100%. We charge $9.99 subscription fee and cut veterinarian at 25% of this. We have also accounted for a churn for non 100% retention. And our pricing over 5 years will be going down as our costs go down with the volume as the volume goes up. So here are our financials. Our model is driven by how many veterinarians we can get on board, which in turn drives number of units sold. There are 3 takeaways from this slide. One is we will become profitable in year 3 of operations. Number 2 is at year 5 operations, our sales will be $175 million. And last but not least is that distribution between our hardware and consumables would be approximately equal at the last year, which drives our margins up significantly, because hardware actually would stay at about 60% margin mark. But we have a very, very high margin on subscription, over 95%. So the mix actually gets us to high 80s, believe it or not. So what we've done so far, we've been totally self-funded. I spent over $50,000 out of my pocket to fund this company. What we achieved for that, we submitted 2 patent applications with USPTO and PCT. So we're unique. I didn't say anything about competition. We don't have a direct competition. We have plenty of indirect, including doing nothing. But the market is big enough to support plenty of people who will do nothing. We actually developed and built a prototype of the hardware, of cloud backend, of cloud algorithms, and the mobile application. And the entire chain works. We've been collecting data for months now as we look for investors. In the meantime, we've been collecting data and extracting this data, and data seems really meaningful. But of course, we still need to go scale up and do larger scale experiment. And for that, we're seeking Series A of $1 million. What we want to do is we want to productize the prototype, which we are not far from, but still. Start manufacturing. We will be using outsource, of course. Build a limited sales force, and recruit approximately 1,000 veterinarians into our network, and maybe put up to 1,000 units out there for a pilot program. And then later next year, we will be looking for Series B, $4 million to actually scale up, to set up supply chain and go big, and also do cost reduction and new product development. Our exit strategy is M&A, merger and acquisition. So we're a big data company, as I already said. And big data actually has very exciting statistics here. So last year alone, there were between 150 to 200 deals at outrageous valuations. And with that, to summarize, we have a great ROI. Don't look at these numbers. Sorry about that. I will remove them soon. We have dedicated and passionate teams, so you're basically investing in good people here. We have really innovative, first of its kind product, and I think we think it's exciting. Thank you very much.
That was very good. Okay?
We got.
No, you knew your stuff. You weren't here having to read. You were talking. You were engaged with the audience. Okay? So the things you need to tune up are minor. And you know most of them, right? Let's go back to the beginning here. In addition to contact information, you're not very proud of yourself. Okay? You need to be big here because I don't remember what the hell your name is, okay? So you want to do that. I'm just going to run through a few things. But overall, I think it was very good. The visuals are good. This stuff is good. This is the first place where you start to lose. You got all this writing, and you got the pictures. You're doing good with the pictures. My vote would be to stick with the pictures. And if you can talk about this, but there. Cat in the Cloud, right? Everyone loved that, right? Everyone loved Cat in the Cloud, and you remembered it. Okay, that's about connecting. Cat in the Cloud, you can remember. So these were good. Here's where I got confused because I'm not clear who your customer is. And I understand maybe all of them could be, but if your customer is the pet owner, tell me about the pet owner, okay? Because I'm also confused about the veterinarian, meaning is he or she, is the veterinarian the customer or the marketing channel? And so I think when you talk about, I would simplify that there, I don't think you're making your money off of breeders, right? I mean, it's not probably the biggest market.
That's a promotional channel.
Yeah. So I think you want to simplify that dramatically. Once I look, 55 billion U.S. pet market. Okay, that's only acceptable up here because you then go to the 40. But put a number there. Okay, 40 million households with that many cats means what?
Oh,
you're selling, really.
If I sell, you want a market size in dollars?
Yeah, because 55 billion pet means food and all that other crap, right?
But I draw your attention. So the point.
Yeah, and so I forgive you the sin of the big meaningless number if you tell me the real number. And then the target market. So you start with 10,000 vet practices. That says to me you're selling to the vet. Okay, when you're really selling to the owner. So I think you need to be really clear. Who's my customer and how am I getting there? And you've kind of mixed the two together.
Question, do I remove 10,000 vets, maybe do I put them on go-to-market then?
Yeah, they're on the go-to-market, right? Because that's how you're planning to get to market. So I think, I was glad to see you had go-to-market. That's good. There. Okay.
So we're too busy.
Unless you're Leonardo DiCaprio and I don't know, some good-looking woman, don't do pictures.
Okay.
Do a few logos. Expert in sales to small business online. That doesn't tell me anything. Okay, everyone's an expert. You don't have advisors. No one says advisor doesn't know crap about my business, even when it's true. But throw up either a company name. Get guilt by association. This person was CEO of Petco. Whatever it is. Wow, that's like way too much information. Okay, and you have some important things, but simplify it, okay? Just like this was much simpler than a big, long spreadsheet. And I was so-so on it till you did that. That was really good, okay? Because that said, okay, here are the takeaways. We're going to be $175 million in revenue. We're going to have devices and subscriptions, and we're going to be profitable. So, you know, and I maybe would have circled that, but that was good. This, I maybe give you a pass on because of that.
I had it much shorter, but I just came from Connect Springboard. I graduated from Springboard, and there are some leftovers from Springboard.
Well, funding, I like that. You did good there. That's okay. I wouldn't spend a lot of time on this, okay? Because what you want to do is convince people that you can build a good business. Good businesses will find an exit, okay? If you have to tell someone that you can get bought for a lot of money, you know, you can maybe, you know, at some point convince me that you're going to get a technology multiple rather than a pet food multiple. But I just think you're spending time that. In summary, other than the great ROI, I think the other things, that's what you really, right? Because these all lead to that, assuming you can execute. So, but you know, I give you a B+. Thank you very much. And you get an A+ for getting up here, okay? Because that takes a lot of.
Well, we're at 6:15.
Okay.
And again,
go, looks like.
thank you very much.
A few
for your
extra
time.
minutes.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Good luck, everyone.